السلام ظهر رسالة تسامح والتعايش السلمي بيجيك من آي راديو هناك في جنوب السودان.
This is a message of peace. We all are South Sudanese. It does not matter where anyone comes from. We need to respect each other and support each other because we are one. We all are human beings. As South Sudanese, we deserve to coexist peacefully, tolerate one another, reconcile all our differences, and live peacefully. This is a message of tolerance and peaceful coexistence brought to you by iRadio, your eye on South Sudan.
Welcome to the Sundown Show. On this show, we bring you the movers and shakers of South Sudan and the world over. We engage in debates and discussions that unearth the stories behind the news. And we have our light moments too by chit-chatting about issues that affect our day-to-day life. We stay right here on the Sundown. Join in and be part of the show on iRadio, your eye on South Sudan. The Sundown, for the news, views, opinion, debates, and discussions. Listen to who is who talking about issues that affect our country and continent. Only on the Sundown, your eye on South Sudan.
Hello and welcome to the Sundown Show on iRadio with me, Madrama James. Today is Wednesday, the 11th of June 2025. We will start the program with a look at some of the key developments shaping the country's financial sector. We will continue discussing the ongoing liquidity crisis affecting local banks, the government's new directives for civil servants to open bank accounts for salary payments, and the potential of a mobile money platform like DigiCash to improve access to financial services in remote areas. Well, we'll also take a closer look at the recent appointment of Dr. Addis Ababa, although as the new governor of the Bank of South Sudan, and what his leadership might mean for the country's economic direction. To unpack all these issues, I'm joined live in the studio by economist Abraham Maliet Mamer. Abraham, welcome to the show.
Thank you, iRadio, and welcome to all the listeners to this important evening of Sundown.
Good to have you once again. Now, first thing first, have you diagnosed the cause or primary reason for the lack of the liquidity in the banks, and how will it be addressed?
It was an issue, but now it has moved to crisis. The evidence is that there is no cash in our banks. All our bank accounts, they move, the figures are digital, and they are not physical cash that can address any withdrawal needs for a customer or a client or a bank. And this, for the last 6 months, it has been an issue. Now it's moved to a crisis level. I have different take to this. One, the question would be why people are not banking their cash with the banks. I have held various conversations with different units of the government, particularly the money laundering sector. I also had conversation with the chambers of commerce and industry. I also have conversation with some leaders of the private financial industries, such as private banks. These groups, they are not agreeing to why there is no money in the bank. But my understanding from individuals and other big businesses. They are saying when we go to the banks, we don't get the cash that we need, because banks do not make our cash available the time we need them. And when you ask, okay, why do you think the banks are not releasing the money? You say they don't have the cash. Some of the private banks that I had a conversation with, they were saying, oh, well, the Bank of South Sudan owe us our deposits. So we don't have any grant coming from the Bank of South Sudan. So we should keep the liquidity. Bank do not give us money. And the simple argument would be, well, that is a different thing, but somebody who brought his or her money in cash to deposits with you people, that person, he is not in your equation with the Bank of South Sudan. They should get their money anytime they need it. Then the answer has not been forthcoming. The individuals now, they are abstaining from depositing their money due to this fact. Then, okay, people are asking, why would I even put my money in these private banks? Because there is nothing I get. I only get deductions. My money are not making any sense to me. So banks are not selling products that are attractive to people to deposit their money. There should be current accounts, there should be saving accounts, there should be investment accounts that are paying some dividend somehow. So if I put 100 million pounds in a bank account, next day I come, it will not be 100 million anymore. Bank would have deducted their fees. And those fees is not to hold the money. If the matter of saving or the safe deposits or having strong rooms, some people prefer to build strong room in their houses. They keep their money where there be no deductions. Because you should put the money in the bank and then the money works for you. Now we are working for our money. So that is the problem.
So now you, in your speech, of course, you said you have interacted with some of these policy makers.
True.
And according to your own research, beside the issue of maybe an attractive policies in the bank that can allow customers or clients to bang in their money, issues to do with charges, what are some of the primary reasons as to why there are no cash in the banks of South Sudan currently?
The primary reason is that people are not banking their money. Those who unfortunately bank their money to the banks, I believe the banks are using this money to give it as loans. You know, there is one thing here we are not taking care of.
What is that?
When I go as a South Sudanese with my property as a collateral to take the loan, it is very difficult to get loans on our properties. But if a foreigner lease my property and take the lease agreement to the bank give them the money. And the money they give to these people as loans, they are not money. They are not bank's money. They are depositors' money. They are the client's money. That is one of the reasons when you went to the bank and you need your money, you don't get them because they've been lended away already. So these things need to be looked into carefully. And I believe those who are going to collect the money in the bank and they don't get it and they feel disappointed, I agree with them. Because there should be no way for the bank to refuse to accept my collateral, to give me the loan, and then my brother and sister have money. That money is given as a loan based on my lease that I have signed with the foreigner. That is a very, 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 really crucial matter to be addressed. That's why people prepare to keep their money at the houses, because if I give it to the bank will lend it to somebody else will benefit, and the bank will benefit, and I who had cash deposited in the bank, I'm not benefiting. So why would I do that? Instead, I'm adding, I don't get them when I need them. I'm also paying the fees that there is nothing comes from it. So this is actually one of the reasons why some people are keeping their money in their houses, because they are expecting the bank to keep their money at all time. They are expecting the bank to do business with them. A bank should sit and advise people with the large cash that, hey, this cash can go to this, can go to that, because banks should sell products that are also attracts me to bring more money into the bank, because money should be working for money. And I should not put my money, it becomes still and it's not moving when I need it. But it is moving to somebody else. So this is a matter we need conversation. I suggested through the anti-money laundering people plus the Bank of South Sudan that let us sit and do conversation about this.
Now, in this discussion, I would like you to put on the shoe of someone who deposited the money in the bank, but at the end of the day, you have emergencies, either sickness, school fees, and you want to travel somewhere. But at the end of the day, the bank is telling you, we don't have cash at hand. Yet, you yourself, you know that you have deposited something. In this scenario, will you bank your money?
No. That would be a lesson to me. I could even go and tell others that, hey, there is a problem here. Don't bank your money. If you have money at home in cash, use them, and you may have emergency. This time schools are going back. Schools are opening. You may get sick. You may have other family matters that need cash. So I would advise others, hey, before you bank your money, make sure that you keep some at home for your emergency. By the time you need your money, you don't get it from the bank. See, it's a very serious thing. People need to talk about it. Yes.
Now, do you think the government has done enough to address this issue?
Honestly, I'm not saying government has done it. Actually, government did not even think. I'm being specific, Bank of South Sudan. They have not called these private banks, and they discussed this matter, because the Bank of South Sudan itself, they are afraid, because, remember some of the governors long time ago used the private bank deposits, and they have not paid them back. So now, whenever a private bank call a central bank, they go into scared mode. They are afraid that these people will ask for their money and we are not able to pay this money. So they actually left the private bank to operate at large, because the regulator who's supposed to be regulating them is also have issues with their money. So it's not, I can see now the private bank are passing the absence of cash that they are not getting from the Bank of South Sudan, they're passing to the clients. Because, the Bank of South Sudan owes me money, then I don't have money to pay you. Of course, when you go and dig down, these are different things. Putting my money privately to a private bank on condition that to take my money anytime I need is different from I have a deposit in the Bank of South Sudan.
Now, in your speech earlier on, you said lack of cash in the bank has now turned out to be a crisis. What more can be done to rescue this situation?
Number one, we should have a conversation. We should sit and craft the policy that will govern this. There is a very severe absence of collaboration and conversation. These people are financial institutions. They must talk to one another. They must collaborate. They must cooperate. They must coordinate. Because a private bank and a Bank of South Sudan and individual clients that are putting their money, these people, three of them, is a triplet that must talk together. So once we talk, we'll come up with solutions. And those solutions are put into policy. When you develop policy, you do something called consultation. You can't drive a policy without knowing exactly what people talk about. The stakeholders. These are the stakeholders. You bring them together and say, hey, this is the issue. How do you handle it? You come up with some suggestion, you formulate it into a policy, and then everybody must be abide by that policy. That's what is lacking now.
Now, the issue is most of the government and state institutions like the revenue, the court, and you talked of some of these agencies that are collecting money on behalf of the government. They prefer the clients to pay them in cash instead of that's the bank directly to the bank. Do you think they are the cause of also the crisis we are in currently?
What also these agencies that are collecting money, they present themselves to the bank as individual clients, not government institutions. Because they themselves, they need to operate their businesses. The institution that they're running, they need operations. So The same thing applied to individual clients as people when they don't have cash is also applied to them, because the number that needed cash is large than the cash that have been available in the banks. So, but the government institutions that are agencies that are collecting money should really bank the money, because if they are paying government bills and there is no cash, then that should not be a problem compared to a private entity that needs money, because this money actually are collected from the individuals that are banking with the banks. So when you don't put money in the bank, you don't know what is going on with that money. So that as a government, you don't benefit from that money hoarded somewhere. They may be doing big businesses that earn them millions of pounds and dollars, but you don't know, because this business is elusive. You cannot cash it to the government so they can even ask them to pay taxes. So this is actually a convoluted affair. It goes out and in. So it's a circle that needs to be broken. I urge the government, yes, the government institution, the government agencies that are collecting revenues, they should bank. But you come again and say, okay, what if they need to operate? Because the money they are collecting, they have involved some operations, something to do to pay their business to lubricate it. But if they don't get in the bank, then they go to the same cycle. So it's a vicious cycle. It's like what we call the black hole. Never come back. So we need to have some cushion policies that the government agencies should have some ways to address this. But the revenue authority is actually a leading factor in this. So the revenue authority plus the individuals plus the banking system, the anti-laundry, these people they are stakeholders. They should sit and design and talk and have a conversation, agree on what to be done. I believe there is so much money outside the banking sector. You can also go crazy and do other things.
Abraham, how would you recommend someone to open an account, yet some of these institutions, according to the latest report, they are not even remitting some of the money they are collecting? Now, how would you encourage them to do that, yet they are victims?
Well, you know, they are playing victim character, but they are not victims as such, because they are not honest. They don't really come up. You know, if you're collecting money from me, and I know that this money you don't go and bank it, why would I give you the money? I have to talk. We have to have a conversation. Hey, my friend, I need this money that I'm paying to be put into bank account, because government agencies, they have no another way to keep money at high. No, they should keep the money in the bank, because the bank they should keep the money is a bank that has been licensed by the Bank of South Sudan. Usually in those days, all the government institutions, the agencies that collect money, they will bank with the Bank of South Sudan, not commercial. But for some reason, it was relaxed so that you can even bank with the commercial banks. But normally, you bank with the government bank. There should be something called a block account. All the revenues are collected to that block account. Only the Minister of Finance and the head of the revenue now will be able to discharge those monies. But otherwise, it should be going to a block bank account. Anybody collecting money from people, from citizens, from businesses, that money should be blocked, because it belongs to government. Yes.
And we have seen in a scenario where some of the cash are flying from Juba to other parts of the state, but they are not coming back. Talking about this money circulation in the country and some other places, they don't have good infrastructures and banking system. How can that be improved?
Again, it goes back to financial infrastructure that it is in place. Let me say this, it looks like an odd statement. You know, some states are operating as if they're not part of the national government. They are actually blocks. They create their own little colony, financial colonies within that. The money goes all the way to the village. And if they are to come back, they'll come back to a small town and back to the village. So the circulation is so close. It's become like a small colony. It's a block. They need to open back to the central. Now the other thing, the consumption is from the central to the peripheral. So nobody generating money from those areas. So the money will not come back. The reason why money goes on, the circulation is come, there is a consumption and production. And then again, consumption becomes production and production becomes consumption. When there is this circular going, that's why you see money going backward and forward. So, but the peripherals, they become dead end. They don't generate any activity that brings money to send to the center. If you are in Juba, you don't expect money from your village to be sent to you because there's nothing in the village. It is you who feeds the village. So if the center is feeding the terminal and peripherals, there is no comeback. So now government must intervene. You have to come with products that those who are keeping the money will trade and bring the money back. I was suggesting the cooperative. Because when you send money to your home, you are expecting one of your guys is sick or the kid is going to school. And when you are in school, you buy books and uniform. There should be cooperative providing this thing to these terminals so the money can come back to the center. But now the money did there. I believe in sometimes when I went back home, even the note of 20 pounds, the note of 25, the note of 50, they are there in numbers. You see, although they are useless, but they are there. There's no way to come back. So we must create a channel to be able to bring this money back.
All right. Dear listener, at this point of time, let's head down now for our first commercial break. When we come back, we shall take a look at the directives made by the Ministry of Finance and Bank of South Sudan for civil servants to open up their account, and at the same time, the new leadership at that's the Bank of South Sudan. That and more after this break.
هل أنت جنوبي وعندك مشروع شغال في الزراعة أو أنظمة الأكل؟ برنامج الأغذية العالمي WFP مع وزارة الزراعة وشركائه أفريلابس والسيد جرو كامباني ليميتد بيدعوكم عشان تقدموا في تحدي الابتكار في أنظمة الغذاء إغنايت 2025. ده فرصتك عشان تكسب منحة بيصل ل$40,000 وتلقى تدريب وتوجيه من خبراء، وكمان تتواصل مع مستثمرين والصناع بتاع القرار. لو شركة بتاعك مسجل رسمي وشغال أكثر من 2 سنين وعندك تأثير حقيقي في تحقيق الأمن الغذائي أو مجابهة تغيير المناخ، التقديم ده ليك. النسوان والأشخاص ذو الإعاقة والمجتمعات المحمشة مرحب بكم جدا للتقديم. قدم حسي عبر الرابط ده www.bit.ly/ignite-challenge. رسل مستنداتك كله عن طريق رابط درايف قابل للمشاركة عشان حماية البيانات. آخر يوم للتقديم يوم 13 شهر 6 2025. للاستفسار يتصل على 0922 107667 أو 0920 788816. الإعلان منشور كمان في مواقع التواصل الاجتماعي WFP أفريلابس والسيد جرو كامباني ليميتد.
أول مرحبا بكم تاني مرة بالجديد من فاصلة في زمن بتاسي. أنا براهب أبرا مهالية تاني وزارة مهالية وسنترال بانك بمعنى كله الناس الشغالين بحكومة عشان كيف يفتح حسابات بتومون ولمومو أكاون عشان كيف مرتبات بتومون في شهر بقدر يحولوا لهم في محل لهم فيه. تبقول بدأ أشنو في خطوة وزارة مهالية شيلو. مرحبا.
شكرا للمستمعين. الخطوة ده خطوة بحد ذاته ما فيه أي مشكلة، ده كلام كويس. لكن الناس بفتكر جوبا ياو ساوث السودان. الموضوع ده بينطبق على ناس القاعدين في جوبا، لكن القاعدين في مناطق بعيد ما بنطبق عندهم. الحاجة الثانية القروش ذاته الأمة بيقولوا ده قروش بسيط. لما تقوم تحولوا 3-4 تحويلات من بنك المركزي لبنك التجاري، من بنك التجاري لمومو ولا لنازل، قروش ناس بيعمل فيه يعني استقطاعات وقروش بتنقص. ما بتكون انت زي ما انت داير. الحالة زي ده حالة كويسة ما نحن نكون كلنا بنعرف بنسوي في شنو. العلم ما ربنا بدي علم بالطريقة اللي هو دايره. نحن كلنا ما متعلمين عشان نقدر نستخدم حاجات دي بصورة ما في إشكاليات. فأنا بقول إنه الناس مفروض ما يعملوا تجربة بحاجات زي ده، لأنه أنت ما ممكن تجربني عشان أتعلم بتجربة، لا، ده ما مفروض يحصل. ما في غلط أساسا في موضوع نحن بندفع مرتبات لناس زمان كاش، ما فيه مشكلة، لأنه من قبل كده ناس كان بتدي مرتبات في بنك، لكن بصورة من ضرب من ظروف وقفوا. بعدين المرتبات ما ريجولر، ما بتجي في زمنه. فخلينا نعالج المهم أول، وبعد ذاك نجي في حاجات بسيطة ندفع لك كيف وندفع ده لما نكون عندك. لو ما عندك هتدفع كيف؟ ما أنا مشكلتي ما ندفع لك كيف أنت، مشكلتي ندفع لك 200 وكم.
ما مشكلة أبرام، في زول بقول خلاص الدنيا ماشي لقدام، بدل الناس بدفع قروش طوال مباشرة في دين بتاع زول، وفي طريقة يحولوا في مومو، وأنت متأكد بنك تاع السودان وكمان باقي الشركات اللي ما بقدر خاملوا برنامجات ديل كلهم.
ما هو مسألة ده في أقدر أوريك حاجة واحد. الاقتصاد بتاعنا ده في شريحة كبيرة جدا خارج الاقتصاد الرسمية، شريحة قريب 90%. لو حكومة، أنا لما بنك المركز نزل حاجة اسمها ديجيتال بلاتفورم بيمنت ده، أنا راح به على أساس إنه الشركات الكبار الداير قروش من الحكومة ممكن يدوم ديجيتالي، لكن الموظفين ده شريحة ضعيف جدا في مجتمعنا، ما ممكن تدخلهم في مضبة كبير زي ده. لكن لو في شركات داير قروش من الحكومة تدفع له ديجيتال، ما في مشكلة. زول داير 100 مليار من الحكومة تديه بقروش كاش، كيف اديه ديجيتال؟ بعد كده الشخص ده او زول اللي عنده قروش ده ممكن بعد كده يتصرف مع الناس اللي بيدفعوا لهم، برضه الناس قادره. لكن الموظف اللي بينظف اللي بده 30,000 جنيه في شهر علاقته شنو بالديجيتال؟ ما انا عارف الناس دايره تمشي قدام، لكن ما تمشي. في مثل بقول لو داير تصل امشي مع ناس، لو داير انت ما داير تصل امشي براك. لا ما ممكن نمشي برانا، داير تنصل لنقطة معين تمشي مع ناس زي، لأن الشريحة الضعيف بيعتمد على المهية بتاع 30,000 ده الأهم. ده واحد. الاقتصاد برمتها 90% خارج الاقتصاد العادي. انت الكلام اللي بقوله ده كلام كويس جدا، لكن ما بينطبق حسا. ابدا بفوق الشركات الكبيرة اديه. حسا لو قلت لوزير انا بدي قروش بتاعك ديجيتال ال 25,000 اللي بصرفه وزير، بقبل؟ ما اقبل.
نعم. في جنوب السودان في جزء من الناس صار في السوق، وطبعا كان لانه في يوم 24 في كل شهر من بيلقى مرتبات بتوعهم، لكن جزء من المواطنين بقول قال هيلاند بس قاعد باكر في إيزا وقاعد باكر في جوبا. تبولول شنو لناس في خارية وبار في بومات؟
ما انت عارف نحن مفروض نبدأ حاجة اسمه understanding communication. نحن مفروض نتحدث مع ناسنا كناسنا، ما نتحدث كأجانب. انت قبل ما تطلع البيان او قرار لازم تعرف انت قاعد تقرر لمنو وليشنو. ما بطال انت تقول والله انا ملتزم ندفع لكم مرتباتكم، ده كفايه. التزام بمرتبات ده في محله، معناه اساسا المرتبات ده ما فيه نقاش. ناقش معي في حاجة تاني، لكن المرتبات ما فيه نقاش، لأنه ده الدولة ذاته، ما يفرق بين الحكومة والدولة. مرتبات ده الدولة، الحكومة بتجي تلتزم بالالتزامات بتاع الدولة. الموظفين ده الباقيين ما بيمشوا، حكومات بتمشي، الرئيس بيجي ماشي، الرئيس بيجي وزير ماشي، كلنا هنزول، لكن الدولة دايم والموظفين فيه دايمين. انت تلتزم بالدوامه ولا لازم بمشي. القرار الحكومه بيقول ده قرار بتاع حكومه، لكن ده الدوامه ده الدوله. مرتبات ده ما فيه كلام، ما ينتظر ولا تعلنه. ما اصله من ما زول بيشتغل لك ده خلاص ده انتهت الدوله، لازم تلتزم. 24 ولا 10 يوم ولا كم، انا ما عندي مشكله في الموضوع ده، لكن الشرائع بتاعك الضعيفه ما بتستحمل الكلام ده. هاي.
Now, should the government do more to support mobile financial services, and if so, how? And how should citizens also trust them without laws and policies from the government? Some of these mobile operating companies, their terms of agreements are not really clear to the citizens, and how can they really trust this process?
This is one thing also. I have made a very clear statement when they were launching something called NiPay. NiPay was one of the South Sudanese good mobile money initiatives. And I said, this thing is really good. What we need to do, before we launch anything, we must do education. You know, these products in the world that are more robust and saleable, there is something called communication and marketing. So we are lacking that. So government should do marketing and communication first and sit with these platforms to clear the air. These are the rules and regulations. These are term of reference. Nobody should actually bypass this. I actually, one time I was sending money to somebody, but it took almost 2 days to trace where the money went to through the mobile money platforms. And you ask here or not there, here or not there. Then also the channel where you send these telecommunication companies, they are also a problem too. They are not stable. So before we go there, we need to sit. We need to really tighten our house. We clean our house first before we blame others. Yeah, these mobile money, they found an opportunity. They can rob anybody. They don't care because nothing will follow them.
All right. Now, briefly before we moved on, you earlier on mentioned the issue of that bringing in the small denomination money, as you mentioned, 20s to the capitals. And what advice would you give to the government?
You know, the value of pound is not the highest or the lowest denomination. That's not the one. You see, now our pound lost ground to Ugandan shilling. And Ugandan shilling trade in thousands, 50,000, 20,000, 10,000. Yet we have the highest is 1,000, and we lost ground to the shilling that trade in high denominations. So the matter is not what denomination you have, what highest or lowest. Is the strength of your economy that what you need to review. So I am really, I can say I'm neutral, whether you increase or you don't increase, but for the benefit of what we call courtesy, safety, instead of carrying 100 millions in a small denomination, you can condense them. It's condensation. Doesn't matter. We can introduce 5,000. We can introduce 10,000. It will not change the status of the weakness of our pound. What will happen? What will change this? If we work hard, we produce, so our pound become valuable. That's what I can say.
All right. Now, let's move on and have a look at the new changes that have happened within the Central Bank of South Sudan. Dr. Addis Ababa Otho has been appointed as the new governor of the Bank of South Sudan. What does his appointment signal to the future of the financial sector in the country?
This is also a good question. Dr. Addis is not new in the sector. I believe is more relevant completely than any other governor, simply because Addis had both the government banking understanding and private banking understanding. So I believe if he move the experience in both worlds, I think we'll be able to come up with some new ways to address any banking issues. Of course, you are aware our Bank of South Sudan, it has been in existence, but although the act speak clear, it was recently amended, but I think some policies have not been put in place. So having both private understanding of banking and then the official Bank of South Sudan, I think Dr. Addis may be the solution. I can say that. And maybe Mr. President maybe got what we call the jackpot, and we see what will happen.
Dr. Addis priorities to function of zaman bitasa.
And I want him to go and review all the policies, the monetary and fiscal policies, review them, to bring them to our context. You know, our country they've got a lot of landed people, very, very intellectual, and then also the majority are below primary level of education. So you need really to work through this too. Another thing, he should stabilize the currency. He must work with other financial institutions and also some people in South Sudan who would understand how economy can be run. He should make a consortium of people. Then he pull and sit down and developed some small steps to guide the bank. So I believe Addis, he has challenge, but I think the challenge is really better than something you don't know. Addis knows what he's coming into.
But the issue is we have witnessed a lot of changes within the leadership of the central bank, but little impact citizens have realized.
Because, there's two things here I wanted to emphasize. The relationship between the government and the Bank of South Sudan, that need to be worked out clear. Who does what? The bank is a custodian of the government money. But making money is not a bank issue. It's not a bank priority. Central bank of the whole world, they don't make money for the government. Government make money and bring it. The bank is a custodian, keep the money. Now the bank will have to create policies to keep this government money. Bank now, the real work of the Bank of South Sudan is to regulate the other private banks. And doing this private regulation is where it can make some impact. What makes the economy stable is not the government alone. It's these private entities we call the private sector. Because private sector is where the money is coming from, is where the revenue is made, is where the employment is coming from, is where the strength of economy come from private sector. So Dr. Addis now coming from private sector, it should really turn into it and develop it so that these people, they are secure to invest.
Second last one, President made it very clearly he is looking for solution. Now, what are the benefit of the regular changes? The bank of the governor of central bank. What are the benefits?
The benefit for now, as I stated earlier, is he has appointed someone who have experience in private and government banking. Also, if the president looking for solutions, economy development goes in a very slow phase. There's something called incubation. Like into the jib beda to kutu, ma bifaga fi yom wahid. Biakhud zaman, it takes time to incubate. It takes time. So you need to nurture and cushion. But you bring a good chick or good egg that can turn into chick. So I think Addis can be a good egg now. If it is hatched, it will bring good chicks that can actually withstand the pressure. And I know what the president said. I said it once. I said it some years ago. And I was saying the president will have right to change day and night if you don't really bring to the party what he's expecting of you.
All right.
So you can be changed.
Lastly, before we invite our audience also to ask their good question, the current governor, when he was the first, deputy governor, he said that will be in consultation with commercial banks to determine a small charges in the value of that salary withdrawal. What is your take on that?
These are the thing that I was saying earlier. It is not our economy is an open one, and we are very competitive in terms of free market. Now, the bank should be the one encouraged to do products. If the bank A is charging 1 cent for a withdrawal, and the bank C is charging 30 cents for withdrawal, I'll go for the bank A. Now there's a competition. and the competition give you the best. So I see now what can be done, Addis can do in order to do this. The bank cannot be charged without their input. Addis can call this private bank and see what does it cost to keep somebody's bank account. What does it cost if the Bank of South Sudan transfer the money to you? We have to come with a real. These are figures. These are costs. You cost them. If it takes 4 hours to do this, okay, how much do you charge per hour? So this thing can be developed in a way that the cost is a cost that is real. The others have no right to say, well, you charge 100,000 for every account transaction. No, you cannot say that. No. We have to sit down and do what is the actual cost.
نعم مستمعينا فرصة بقى لك في 0912299869 لو عندك سؤال ولا تعليق بطريقة الخاص لأبراهام هاليتا في داخل الاستوديو بجاي تواليتا بخون معنينا في كان ناخد أول مخالمة هاي راديو. نعم مرحبا فرانكو.
أول حاجة أنا برحب بالسيد أبراهام. أنا برحب بكل المستمعين بتاع راديو.
شكرا.
البرنامج بتاع الاقتصاد بتاع اللي هو البنك يعني البنك سيستم بتاع الإنسان. نحن كل شغالين في السودان في النظام بتاع البنوك هو البنك. الدولة أساسا مبنية على الشراكة. يعني الولايات دي بتورد 40% للسهم للمنظمات المالية. ولا 60% قدام الولايات. الجيل الموضوع قاعد انه ما عندنا ارانب ماليه، ما عندنا شيء حتى هو بيتكلم فوق الموضوع بتاع اللي هو الموضوع بتاع الجوب ديسكريبشن ما موجود في السودان. الناس كلها في سكيل واحد، الناس كلها في درجه 4 5. حتى النظام الموضوع بتاع البنك اللي بيعملوا فيه بتاع حسابات في البنك، حساب بتاع البنك اذا كان بتفتح حسابه ما بكاش ما بكاش كويس. والبنك ذاته في حد ذاته ما في حاجه بيخش، يعني ما في توجيه بالبنك، ما في انكم لانه الوجود كلها في الصرافات الموجوده في الجزائر ده خمس الاموال بنسبه مناسبه. يعني زمان بنقول الوجود بيكون موجود في الجزائر اقل من 550,000 ده بيسالوه بلاغ، لكن الوجود مقاعد في الناس. انا عايز اسال سؤال، الحل الوحيد يريد الجزائر زي ما قال محافظ الشعب قال يا اخي هاي يعمل تغيير الوجود وكان تغيير الوجود. هل الحل الوحيد شنو؟ الوجود هذه للناس والناس ما قاعدين يصرفوا مرتبات والوضع هو صعب واسوء واسوء. الحل شنو؟ شكرا جزيلا.
شكرا فرانكو سبيت. الحل شنو؟ هاي راديو. نعم ارجع تاني في 0912229869 ناخذ مخالمة هاي راديو.
Madrama James.
Yes, Joseph.
Good evening, my brother.
Good evening.
And good evening to Professor Abraham Lee.
Welcome.
My brother, my input to this topic is very interesting topic. In 2021 to 2022, dollar was in 70,000. And that duration, Moses Makur was the governor of Central Bank, and Astianadine as the Minister of Finance. But they were fired by the president, and later on, the inflation became a problem, dollar shoot up, and president is looking for the solution. Why the president not maintain those people at that time to control the economy from that level? Secondly, government has jumped up, is not paying arrears, and is not paying salaries monthly, and is saying is making digitalization for the paying civil service, which is less of 50,000 are getting monthly as a salary of the person, and civil servants are not in the capital city of Juba to open accounts. There is a capital cities now who are not banks. So where are that civil servants to get their salaries through banking system? Third to it, the new appointed governor of Central Bank, I think it is a lucky person because they were fired as a deputy bank and somebody assigned, and they brought back as a deputy governor of Central Bank, and he is now assigned as the governor of Central Bank we know it is, if it's God who brought him back, will do something. If person bring him back, I don't think the situation will be changed, because what we've seen at the government level, there's no even economic advice of the president. The president himself is making what he wants, changing life, but we want the economic advisor to be appointed to the president.
Thank you.
Economists to talk every day on the situation of South Sudan at the level of the market, at the level of the pocket of the people. Because if somebody has enmity in pocket, where they going to get money, if he's sick or hunger.
Thank you so much, Joseph from Munuki here. Radio. Aiwa Joseph min Lobanop. Ma batan. Gadim tuwali wasat zamana.
Andara sadogale brada taban kullu haja kan bangde de kana iya ja kudwan nendi hagge mo nini wala je serigan ta dola de ma pa je si bang bang de share that's what I got to see so alwa dura gal budget al arra udrubo olero nadibo apan kana alo UPDF wanda ja sharik kan ta jigir ki dola de budget de kala min central bank wala kala min jupe nas ko baat kanin ko selim da din gulgal hal si central bank ha se halian se pound wala dollar ya fi lian no kanta bora su ta dingo nas fi dili fi dollar bra digo bursa fi dia sala halian de 1000 hal fi ne kan konsumi al fi de ga jur ade ya ba ye gine diga hara to ka diga be hara dirip kam diga asara gine diga kala diga sap sana baro ke bank kana ta gine de bank de hal dollar e kitin le phone e kitin yana kan der rasul guru ne mo bigul an len kan le dollar an men di phone o kede worlen ne gine bile sanna gedaro shukran
okay shukran jazilan kuna Joseph High Radio.
Hello High Radio. Misal khair.
Misal lor.
Mal Deng Santo wow.
Marhaba Deng Santo.
شكرا انت جبت برنامج سمع ليلة شديد.
شكرا.
انا بسلم لضيف معك في الاستوديو.
شكرا.
مو كلام تمام كلام ده كلام هذول الوطنية. لانه شفت يا اخوي الكلام القروش قالوا بيحولوه في البنك ده حساب. ده ما مصاب بتاعنا جنوب السودان اللي لسه ورا. ده القروش ذات المرتبات بسيط جدا جدا. وحتى انت لو عملت حساب في البنك القروش اللي قاعد بمدة يوم 24 ده انت كان مشيت بنك ما بتلقاه ما في قروش. المفروض اول سنتر بنك يوفر القروش للبنوك كله في الولايات. بعدها يقدر يقول انا بحول المرتب يوم 24 قروش بنزل في البنك. لكن ما يونسوا بلسان ساق بكشم المرتب البسيط 20,000 و30,000 لما تمشي البنك انت ما بتلقاه ما في كله البنوك هنا. ليه؟ لانه الناس تتكلم ده ناس شغالين في سنتر بنك ده نصهم كلهم دول اجانب ما ناس وطنيين يعني دي الأجانب. لو ما كده انت ما ممكن تقدر تقول البروج بيصرفوه يوم 24 انت تمشي البنك يوم 24 او يوم 25 يوم قبل ما تلقى مرتب بتاعك.
نعم يلا سؤال تاكي شنو لأبراهام؟
والله السؤال بتاعي لأبراهام ما عندي سؤال انا بقوله شكرا انت الليله فتحت عيوننا وبرت قلبي بتاعنا. كلم مع الناس البنوكه ده ناس زي الناس اللي بيجوا بيشتغلوا بنوك دين المدر دين ما شغالين شغل دين ناس اجانب بيفكروا قروش بس يقولوا قروش برا دايرين يطبق قانون بتاع البرا وما عارفين شعب بتاع الجنوب ناس مساكين وناس لسه ما متعلمين. فيوفر القروش اول ببنوك بعدها يبقى حسابات بوفر قروش اول يا ضيفنا كلم مع محافظ البين قول يا اخي عشان الشعب بتاع جنوب السودان يكون مرتاح منك اول يتاكد في قروش في البنوك بتاع جنوب السودان كله ولا ما في.
شكرا
جزيلا.
نعم دنك سانتو. هاي راديو نعم ارجع تاني ولو عندك سؤال ولا تعليق بسريع كده دوما نينا في داخل الاستوديو وديو بتاعي ابراهام عليت بجواب سؤال طوال بتاع هاي راديو.
Hi, Roddy, how are you?
Community advisor in Bor.
Yes.
Welcome.
Welcome getting the guest in the studio. Plus the presenter.
Thank you.
I have very simple questions.
2 questions. 1,
One, how in the whole note released by the government or print,
What's the question? What's the question first?
The money was print, seeing it was print up to today. How many figures were free and where did they hire? Number one. Number two, those politicians are not the problem to the government of South Sudan. If the time for salaries came, they say there is no money in the bank. And when the salaries is over, they say there is money in the bank. Are not the enemies of the government or the friend of the government. If the bank is working, why the government cannot give orders to shut down all those banks who have no money, who have no cash in hand, and not shut down all those banks, and the government will come out with a procedure where they will collect all those money back to the system.
Thank you. Thank you so much, community advisor. He wants to know the amount printed and at the same time who is the enemy of each other in this situation. Radio.
Madrama James.
You are. Engineer Marab.
نبتدي معلك في سيرو سيد أبرام.
شكرا.
مدرما. طبعا جنوب السودان نار قاعد كده وفي المكان ما بحاجة قاعد نجا يا أبرام.
ليت بقول زره.
لا أنا بقول ده أي واحد ولا أخواني لو قال أنا بعمل كده وأنا بعمل هذا بعمل مي يوم ده كان جيبه بقول قال يقول بتاعنا في يوم 24 هذا تبيع كده يوم 24 ده يا أبا كيف بتطلع وما في قروش هذا عندي شهرين أنا ما صرف هذا بقول قال ده حكومة رئيس بقول قال يلوكم ده
solution
ولا ما بلقي ده كذا كرايا بتوع يا مدرما في هذا بواي ده كان زرازي بكده أنا في جابا مع مروم دكتور جون جرام بقول قال عندي جي كفاية لكن دول على باقي لو ما في طبعا بيجي تايم باكلوا بطريقة تانية يا واتلان الجنوب ده
نعم
السؤال بتاعي يا برام طبعا الجروج الباجمو في بوبا دي من بمشي وين مارو ما بدخل في باب في مطار ما بدخل في باب جروج بمشي وين ده السؤال بتاعي يا برام
شكرا أبرام بجواب يتابع شوية. نعم أنا بودي فرصة لمكالمة يلا بعدك ده أنه بيمشي توال في أنا وين بتأخبار لأننا أرجع أنا بودي فرصة ده لأبراهام عشان كيف يجواب أسئلة بتاعكم خلوني. One more last and lucky caller for now before we head out to that's the news headlines, and when we come back from the news headline, that's when we shall be giving the opportunity now to Abraham to respond to some of your questions. Last one, I read you. Ayua.
Gana Isabella min Jonru. Taides another asad dogali. Nazma bag der print grusali sukerin zet ishirin kamsinde. Asan kanta gira receive salary gruze kulu monyo. Umon bes gi print grusali ali kubarde.
Naam. ما في مشكلة إيزابيلا أبرام بجوا بيتا up to here, we have come to the end of the first hour. And let's now head out for the news headline. We will come back to continue with the conversation right here.
Itabasma le radio Hagiga I radio en Takum fi Junub Sudan.
This is iRadio.
The iRadio.
You eye on South Sudan.
Hello, I am Madrama James. It's 5 o'clock time for iRadio News Headline. Now look at what's coming up at 7 o'clock in the news bulletin. President Kiir expressed serious concern over financial malpractices within the Bank of South Sudan, specifically the illegal saltination of a 10% kickback in financial dealings. Police authorities in Lekki State says that at least 2 people died and 10 others sustained injuries in a road accident along Rumbek North Road on Tuesday. And the African Union Peace and Security Council is expected to reiterate its demand for the release of detained politicians, including First Vice President Dr. Riek Machar, in a session on South Sudan tomorrow. Tune in for these stories and more coming to you in our 7 o'clock bulletin. And now here's Barria Johnson with Arabic News Headline. I am Madrama James. Thanks for listening.
أهلا ومرحبا بك. ده زمن عناوين الأخبار من آي راديو والتفاصيل حيجيك في النشر المفصل في الساعة 7:30. أعرب الرئيس كير عن قلقه البالغ أزاء الممارسات المالية غير المشروعة داخل بنك جنوب السودان، وتحديدا طلب عمولات غير قانونية بنسبة 10% في المعاملات المالية. أفادت سلطات الشرطة في ولاية البحيرات بوفاة شخصين على الأقل وإصابة 10 آخرين في حادث سير على طريق رومبيك الشمالي يوم الثلاثاء. ومن المتوقع أن يجدد مجلس السلام والأمن التابع للاتحاد الأفريقي مطالبته بالإفراج عن السياسيين المعتقلين بمن فيهم النائب الأول للرئيس الدكتور رياك مشار في جلسة بشأن جنوب السودان بكرة. خليك في آي راديو لكثير من الأخبار اللي حيجيك في نشرتنا المفصل في الساعة 7:30. أنا كنت معكم باري جونسون. شكرا للاستماع.
إحنا كلنا جنوبيين سودانيين، ما مهم منو جاي من وين. إحنا محتاجين نحترم بعض وندعم بعض لأنه إحنا واحد. إحنا كلنا بشر كسودانيين جنوبيين بنستحق عشان نعيش بالسلام، نستحمل بعض ونصالح خلافاتنا ونعيش بالسلام. ذا رسالة تسامح والتعايش السلمي بيجيك من آي راديو هناك في جنوب السودان.
Welcome back from the news headline, and already you are into the second hour of the Sundown show. This time around, it's another opportunity for us now to hear more from Abraham to respond to some of your good questions that you have asked earlier on. So once again, Abraham, welcome, and it's your turn now to respond to some of these questions.
Thank you, the listeners. Those who asked questions, I really appreciate.
Bezat nasa Franco Shunita Baghdad Job Lomon Be Arabi.
Yes. Let me just go quickly. The last lady who asked about printing small notes because she believed that the small note in circulation now are bad. I think you are right. We should encourage to release if there is any new notes. Now, the issue with small notes is the security, because the bulk, and if you are given 2-3 million, it will be too much for you to carry. Most of us may use border, and that is risky. So I see the point, but we should really completely destroy, or we collect all small denomination back to the back of South Sudan, and we use the big notes. Somebody also asked a question about how much money were printed up to now.
The community advisor.
From Bor. My brother, let me just be very honest with you. Even the Bank of South Sudan, I doubt whether they know how much note they have printed. The reason being, when we print, we don't follow it. I cannot tell you exactly how much in circulation and how much is not in circulation. So that really is something that needs to be taken on, and maybe one of the new tasks for the new governor. Somebody was saying the banks. You see, the salaries and the government pays are not actually private bank issues. It is the Bank of South Sudan, not Bank of South Sudan, it is the Ministry of Finance of the Republic of South Sudan should avail money. Keep it in the Bank of South Sudan. Now, Bank of South Sudan discharge those monies through the private bank so that the individual's salaries is paid. It's not the other way around. Private bank, in this matter, they have nothing to do with it. Private bank are only deal with the private customer that have put their money into the bank. But the bank of the government money, they're not to go the private. It is the Bank of South Sudan should have money from the government and then disperse the money on the government behalf. So that is something that I...
maybe one thing you left out, community advisor is saying some of this money collected, the non-oil revenues, Guruze BMC when?
Yes. The non-oil revenue, we do have revenue authority. Revenue authority is where all the revenues collected, they go through it, then to the government. Now, between revenue authority and the taxpayers or the revenue generators, there need to be some check and balance there. Maybe some do not put the money, or maybe the revenue is not doing their job to make sure that everybody pays the dues to the government. That is a matter need to be really reviewed. I was once a chair of the non-tax committee. The people, governments and entities and also private has not paid tax for 10 years. So I was given that task. It was very difficult because some of us don't want to pay tax. That's the thing. When you say you have to pay, you become actually a target to them. So it's something really seriously need to be addressed. And it is a role of the revenue authority to make sure that everybody pays their tax. If you own a business and you're earning money, you should pay. If you're losing, then you should also be. There's something called audit. Revenue authority has auditors. They should go to business entities and do routinely audit to check whether these businesses are making money or not. If they are making losses, fine. If they're making profit, they pay. Yes. So that is, there's somebody who asked a question about the budget that goes to UPDF and then the Bank of South Sudan, whether we have dollars or you have pounds. I am not a competent authority to say the budget that goes to Ugandan Army, where it comes from. I can't, because this is it's one of the classified information, none of us, because I'm just a technical person, I'm an economist, and I'm not into those who pays where and where the money comes from. I cannot answer that. The other thing, SSP versus US dollar, which one do we have? I can claim legally SSP is our legal tender. So we are supposed to have pounds in abundance compared to dollars. So the Bank of South Sudan and any other bank, any other financial institution that keeps money, they should keep SSP because this is our legal currency and we are entitled to keep it. We should not think about dollar or any other currencies. So something I wanted to make it clear. Another fellow said there is no success ever achieved. You are right. You are not. I cannot say you're wrong, but we have achieved something as a government. We have achieved our independence. Now we are not part of any other country. We are independent. So that's our achievement. We even now we're working for peace. You know, nearly 70% of our country is peaceful now. It's also an achievement, given the fact that we, the South Sudanese, we have issues to do with trusting each other. And I really like the ad of coexistence that iRadio made. It's important for us to educate ourselves. Living together is the best. So yes, we have achieved independence. We have achieved our sovereignty. We are now sovereign. The other little things that are happening in the economy, we will fix them eventually. This talk is one of the solutions too. When we talk and you tell us what you don't like, is also an achievement. So let us not be negative all around, but let us also embrace the differences we have, because that's how we are called human. Yes.
Yo kalamta yo marba ushirinde maafisu engineer Moses Kaman Bugul kalam fogeta Bugul shino.
Bita yo marba ushirinde. Let me not also comment on it, because you know sometimes we may make statements because we are excited, but in economy you don't give promises. And I was I was a little bit touchy when the date was mentioned. One thing you should not mention somebody's salary. You should not say I will give you your salary at this date, because what if that date come and you have got debtors, those whom you owe money? Now they will come bugule ya gita ma government gal beta guru yo marba shirin dinu guru hagi ulo gulta ma doni ma basadiga. And people believe in their government more than anything else.
So, sometimes nas bugul question lo weta kama nindu kat weta der gobudu den min zolta baru gal yo marba shirin
guru beta kuja lakin kan mafi ma zola al mada fa guru bukun kazab badakuluk fi mashakil katir قالوا زول كذاب لا انا اكون ما بكذب في الدنيا اكون ما بكذب كما بدي بلاقازه ما نيجي في موضوع بتاع السالري ده ما فيه كذب. So there was some excitement there, لكن it is now going to be corrected. ما في زول بيقولوا انا بدي قروش لكن ده بدو قروش اسو لازم ده قروش ما ده لازم. في زول قال president is looking for permanent solution لكن شال الناس في 2020 كان بيعرفوا شغل. الناس لما جو لقوا دولار ب 35,000 في زمن بتوع موصل هذا 70. سو الرئيس كان مضطر عشان يجيبوا نازل برا، لانه نازل من 35 دبلوا توالي بقى 70,000. ليه؟ ولا الناس بيقولوا والله من ما شايفين شغل بتوعهم, they are not doing their job blah blah. So Ben said I'm looking for solution. If these guys are not providing what I'm looking for, then they go. No. Then they came the worst and the worst and the worst. So I think solution has to be searched for. And the best way I believe that it can be done is we have to work collaboratively. We need to work together. Nobody should take this bull on their horn and say, I can do it in silos. No, we need to talk. We need to have conversation. We need to stop certain things we're doing. You see, this money we pay to people just anyhow, we need to reduce that. We need also to pay our tax. There's a work that needed to be done. It is not whether dollar goes down or come up. That's not the problem. It's how we sustain what we have got. So that is one thing.
Yala kedana beshilu misal bita community advisor alien dollar pounds tabielga min kumsumia 80 letihit uo shilu takriban 6 shhur
between fi zaman de
fi fatara de kulu wa itabielga ser bita boda fi su BMC yomi tabielga lela bukun ser ta sukar zidu bukura dak zidu dollar ga kerfe mahalu ma pounds lekin so servita boda mahalu bedap ya Abraham haja de gad bahasil
fi highest consumer price index CPI. You know fi hajat kede berja le dustur bitana zatu dustur bitat dawla da
mushkila wen ma dustur
al dustur gal nehna free economy da wahid al dustur gal Ministry of Trade and Industry ma few supply ma few tamwin. So government cannot go regulate prices in the market. It's free market until we get our act together and make amendment or a ministerial circular that allow government to inspect and supply. Now we cannot supply. Government cannot supply anything.
Ente fi marhala de munia bigado tamuno.
Fi marhala de because sharp ma government bigger indum filogo hit. So we government also it should put this as a priority. Kali government interfere to stop this. Lakin ma bagdar ganunian dusturian ile gairu au yamal amendment shoya. And this is important. I said it in some years to some ministers of trade. I made it a presentation. I said, for you to be able to, you remember there was something that government will bring goods, subsidize some goods. You can't do that because you don't have that legal right. You don't have constitutional right, and you don't have supply. You don't supply. That's why cooperatives are not working. Unless you make a law, it is law that actually regulate this. If there was a law that for government to supply, then we can regulate. ونمشي للسوق ولا اسمع ما تبيو كده لأنه سعر الحقيقي كده. لكن لو ما عندك ده ما بتقدر تدخل فيه.
المشكلة ده سبب تبيرجو لتر بتاع بنزين هسه في محلات انين 6200 وفي محلات انين 7000 ونص.
أيوة وما في زول بسالهم لأنه ده فري ماركت أنت ببيع على كيفك. هاي أنا ماشي اشتري بتاع 7000 ونص عشان عندي 7000 ونص. بمشي بشتري بتاع 6200 لأن عندي 6200. It is your pocket that actually direct. And government cannot intervene unless there is a clause in the law that said government should inspect. So the consumer price index is fluctuating. It's always rising. تشتري شوال بتاع سكر الليلة ب200,000. I was surprised. رجعت أنا بعد 3 أسبوع تلقاه ب300,000.
No.
So this and then the trade. Let me just make this so clear. South Sudan is an area where you can make money in a licks of time like this because there is no regulations. You do anything you like. Go to Uganda, go to Kenya, go to these neighboring countries. There is a control of prices. There's a price control.
زول ما بيزيدوا سعر
على كيفه ساكت. لكن here أنت بعمل على كيفك. Even dollar you're talking about 580. في ناس بيبيعوا ب 700. You see, if they are doing what is called bank transfer, you transfer from a bank account to bank account, you can ask as much as you like. Because there is a guarantee money, they will get it outside. The cash is like in transfer is very expensive.
No.
And nobody can intervene.
No.
So government need to act together.
في swearing in governor bit central bank, president talked of that's a reform, and one of it is the issue of kickback. في شوكولا مثلا تدراو القروش يلا زول الشغال في بنك بكلم 10% ده بعدين ذكر له وفي شكل خطوة ديل قاعد بحصل في السنترال بانك ده بقول فيه شنو؟
You know, ethics. You know, when you employ somebody in a institution like Bank of South Sudan or any other institution, the first thing you should do, you should actually educate these people about ethics and business conduct. Yourself should become the last. But you cannot blame some of these guys surely, because even their own dues, the salaries, the enumerations, the support, the incentive, they are not coming. Things are not. So I think it has been a flip side of the thing. Instead of the government actually giving the kickback for the work that it is done, through the salaries and incentives and promotion and so on, and healthcare. Now, the government is not doing that. So, it has to come back first. We should fix this first before we ask Now, how can you punish somebody you have not paid for 3-4 months? No. You cannot.
No.
Yeah.
Now, في جزء من أسئلة لا سألوا ممكن في واحد اثنين تما جواب ده فرصة لك زين نجي خلاص في نهاية بتاع برنامج.
في زول قال دكتور أديس is lucky وده كان ربنا يجابه ولا ده كان لكن he believes وما بقدر يعمل change. And I am not defending new governor, but I wanted to cast what we call the benefit of doubt. Addis recently was in a private banking, and I know Equity Bank is one of the leading banks in the region, and also one of the African bank that is counted international because it's there in a very higher up. So I think that experience, if enhanced properly, maybe will address some failures that others could not. I believe that is one thing. There's somebody talk about economic advisor to the president. That is true. We did not have, we did have an economic advisor, even though it was not effective, but in the portfolio, all the governments must have. It is really important. Somebody should sit next to the president, to advise on economic matters. If not, some other countries like America, they got something called Economic Council, where a number of economists and public people sit there. And when matters like this, liquidity issue, they will discuss and they will bring some advice to the president. Now, the thing with advisory roles here, some advice are not taken, even though they are right. But you can't force somebody to take your advice. You just advise. You throw it and say, hey, here it is. Take it or leave it. But if they were good, they will take it. If they don't, you cannot force them. But it is a correct statement. There should be an advising body.
Abraham, when you shared in your experience about that tax compliance, Emma and Moga on our Facebook page said, first of all, why should government tax citizens while they are not being paid on monthly basis? Because you said in a set situation where you realized there was some resistance. Naskan maderda for taxes tomon. Where Emma bugul leza to okuma bishelo taxes minasu magad bisarab nazi kulu shahar.
No, for something that I need to clarify. The committee that I led was a committee to get the tax for the businesses that are not paying tax. They are doing businesses, they earn money, they signed contracts, especially in the petroleum industry. Some signed contracts of millions of dollars. For 10 years, they never pay a penny. And when I check on them and I call them for a meeting, I had a team of people. We bring somebody to a team meeting and we ask to pay this money. They resisted. And we got some of the scary phone calls in the middle of the night. I was told, if you continue doing this, you don't want to live. You have children, so you should look after your children. So, and it was South Sudanese people, but they are using anonymous numbers. So it is not individuals. Yes, of course. When you work for a company or you work for a government, you pay your own tax. There's something called personal income tax. Personal income tax, it is deducted from you. This salary you get, the pension is deducted from it. So nobody has a control over a salary deduction. It is the government itself that deducted right away from the beginning, and then you are given the what we call the net.
All right.
Yes.
Abraham, thank you so much for your time. With this, we have come to the end of our discussion. Now, what would be your central message in regards to this cash or liquidity crisis that we are in?
I am going to give 2 ways advice. One, those stakeholders that are involved in this conversation, the Bank of South Sudan, the private banks, the anti-money launderers, the chambers of commerce, the other entities that are involved in financial matters, please sit and have conversation. Come up with policy. Do your consultation. This is what we are there for. We must do that. The civil servant and those who are affected by the digital platforms and clarity of the rules of the game in this mobile money, it is your right to ask those questions. If you go to Momo, before you commit to even register, ask what are the terms of reference. Let them explain to you so that you get it. Because this is money. The only thing people fear in the world not to put themselves into it is when you deal with money. Because money is life when you come to this urban life. So you make sure that don't sign something you don't understand. Ask, because the consequences could be you could become a victim. I was a victim once. I lost a couple of thousands of pounds I have because I was not able to know. You send it and they say, well, I MTN Gal Mafi network, Ufulan Gal Mafi network. Fumalad MTN do not go. Fumalad Zain do not go. So there is also a technical and communication issues here so involved. So please, before you do that, check it. Finally, I want us to embrace these challenges and let us be bold enough to ask questions. People think that there is the freedom of speech people are talking about. We are not talking against individuals. We are targeting the issues. And that's how the good citizen, they target issues. Don't go around no. You just say, the issue of liquidity, I have solution. It is this. Let us be solution-oriented than criticism, which is negative. Because all of us will make mistakes. Who doesn't make mistakes? But we will sit and say, hey, how do we do this? We will be able to come up. It's not the first country in the world that suffered to this much. All these countries you see, they are old enough. These things happened before your time. That's why you don't know. But I have a very, very strong faith in our South Sudanese. We are tolerant, we are very, very innovative, but let us bring these tolerance together plus talent. And let us support ourselves. This is our country. There's no another home. If you leave this country, you go to Mugabe, and that's all.
Abraham, I would really love to ask this personal question before you go. Our record tells us here the documents we are getting from Ministry of Finance and with the Bank of South Sudan, starting from January to that's May. Moratabadel Kulu Guruze Warido. Have you received your money starting from January 2025 up to May? Tadi gomon kulu taman finance bugul mini sana de bada mon maligo zeta asuma gibel engineer gul dit nin shuro maligo bedapta ke isabade kep gidor mak
wala endera gurik isabade makulu sawa
yorina
sahi finance belga finance ma belgao finance fi states maligo kulukulu finance fi central government here fi institution maligo guruj. Now what that's why the government, that's why the president was talking about the financial dealing and transaction in the Bank of South Sudan. Maybe some of this money went somewhere. Maybe the kickback has taken some of it. So I really appreciate the president being able to speak those bad cultures. So if we put our hands together, we'll be able to solve this. Yes, it is true. Not everybody is paid on time. There is gap.
All right.
Yes.
Shukran jazilan. With that, allow me now to release Abraham. And once again, thank you so much for coming and sharing your thought with us.
Attention! Cholera is a dangerous disease. It can kill within 3 to 4 hours if not treated. But here is the good news. The oral cholera vaccine is now available to protect you and